There's some incredible TV coming out of the UK right now. Brits just do it differently. The accents, the wit, the scenery, the devastating one-liners disguised as compliments. It's all streaming on BritBox. They have the best mysteries, dramas, comedies, and seriously addicting originals like Outrageous, based on the true story of the Mitford sisters. They were kind of like the Kardashians of the 1930s, wealthy, audacious, chaotic, wildly opinionated, and always making headlines. And chances are you've never heard their story. It's stunning. It's jaw-dropping. It's very British. So check out Outrageous. It could be your next favorite. Don't miss Outrageous, streaming now only on BritBox.
Dedication isn't born in the light of day. It's carved in the quiet hours before the world blinks awake. At Boar's Head, we rise with a mission to deliver craftsmanship worthy of your table. A slice of something special folded into every moment worth savoring. Because dedication means delivering only the very best. Boar's Head, committed to craft since 1905.
Welcome back for another episode of Reality Life with Kate Casey, and I have such a great episode for you today. It's jam-packed. Now, the first thing is Greg Doll joins me again. He's a litigation attorney, and we talk about the latest updates in the Lively versus Baldoni lawsuit. So Blake Lively filed a complaint with California's Civil Rights Department alleging sexual harassment and a hostile work environment on set. She accused Baldoni, producer Jamie Heath, and others of inappropriate behavior and retaliation. In response, he countersued her husband Ryan Reynolds, and her publicist for $400 million, claiming defamation and extortion, and also filed a separate $250 million suit against the New York Times. But just this week, a federal judge dismissed both of Baldoni's suits, siding with Lively and calling her statements protected. Her legal team is calling it a complete victory, and now the road is clear for a full trial set for March of 2026. Her claims against Justin Baldoni, including sexual harassment and workplace retaliation, remain live, again, with that trial firmly set. So we talk about that update and how that changed the trajectory of the case. Then Mary from Two Judgey Girls joins me, and we talk about a lot of Real Housewives updates, really Bravo updates as well. But then we talk about two different documentaries. The first is the Sherri Papini documentary. Now, remember, on November 2nd, 2016, Keith Papini returned to his Redding, California home to find his children alone with his wife, Sherri, missing. So using the Find My app, he locates her phone on the side of the road, earbuds wrapped around the strands of her hair. That case quickly became national news, and 22 days later, she was found bruised, branded, and emaciated, claiming that she was abducted by two masked Hispanic women. So after a 6-year investigation, authorities concluded that she had faked the kidnapping to run away with her ex-boyfriend, James Reyes. She was convicted of mail fraud and lying to the FBI and sentenced to 18 months in prison. She had remained silent until now because there is this new ID and Max docuseries called Sherri Papini, Caught in the Lie, and she shares her side for the first time, admitting that she lied about some of the details she claimed she was held against her will. She alleges her marriage to Keith was emotionally abusive and that she began an emotional affair with Reyes, speaking on burner phones, and that he abducted her when she went for a run and she woke up disoriented in his car. So we talk about that crazy doc series. Of course, you know, I think Sherri Papini is completely lost her mind and I can't trust anything that she says. Then someone on the Facebook suggested this documentary, so we both watched it. It's called The Crazy Love documentary, or just Crazy Love. You can find it on Prime Video. It tells the bizarre, disturbing, and ultimately unforgettable story of Bert Pugac and Linda Riss, whose toxic romance shocked the public in the 1950s and then again in the 1970s. You've got a wealthy, charismatic, but controlling personal injury attorney. That's Bert. And Linda is a beautiful Bronx woman in her early 20s who begins dating him. So Bert's obsessed with Linda, but their relationship ends. And after she discovers that he's already married, she leaves him and she becomes engaged to someone else. He's unable to accept the rejection and he hires thugs to attack her. And in 1959, she's blinded and disfigured when he throws lye into her face. He's convicted and sentenced to 14 years in prison. and she becomes a symbol of tragic victimhood in the press. And the case receives massive media attention at the time. But after serving his sentence, he reconnects with Linda, and she eventually marries him in 1974. The public was stunned that she would marry the man who disfigured her, and their complicated codependent relationship is the focus of the film. Truly a bonkers story. So if you were up for 2 documentaries about crazy people, this is right up your alley. And of course, at the top of the episode, I've got that update on the lively Baldoni case for you. So I know that this is an episode for you today. I hope that you're enjoying a long walk, a car ride. Maybe you're at work. And please share this episode with the people in your life. Here's my interview with Greg and Mary. Greg, so glad to see you. Lots of updates. Welcome back to the show.
Well, great to be back. Thanks for having me.
So were you surprised just as much as I was, or not the big video?
Yes. I was half surprised and half not surprised. Totally unsurprised with respect to the New York Times. I don't think they ever thought they had any shot of winning that New York Times case. Yeah. But surprised as to the scope and breadth of the decision on the private litigants, the other litigants, Reynolds and Sloan and Lively, because that's a sweeping decision that was broader than I expected.
So what legal standard did the judge use to dismiss the $400 million countersuit?
So the basic idea is that when you file a complaint, the first motion that you can file is what's called a 12B motion. And that basically says, look at the complaint and accept everything that is said in the complaint as true and draw every reasonable inference you can in favor of the party that's trying to keep the case alive. And if you can't do that and come to a solution where the plaintiff could win, then you could dismiss the case. So it's basically stack the deck in the favor of the person making the claims and see if there's a case there. And the judge looked at this and said there was no case. Now, what makes this case a little bit different is typically in a 12B scenario like this, you're just looking at a page of a 5 or 6 face of a 5 or 6 page complaint. Mm-hmm. In this case, they put 200 pages of stuff and reference all sorts of documents. So the judge was able to pretty much look at the whole case on a 12B motion, which is rare. And so I think in that case, it actually ended up hurting Baldoni. It helped him in the court of public opinion, right, but it hurt.
Well, you did talk about that too. There are 2 very different things, the court of public opinion and the court of law. So in the first phase, it seemed like it navigated one way. Where would you say we are right now?
With respect to the PR side of it, I've had it sort of a theory from the beginning, which is that on the Lively side, Lively's best PR move in the case would have been to file the CRD pre-complaint and stop. And the reason I say that is because when she filed that CRD complaint and it got leaked to the New York Times, the narrative shifted. And then all of a sudden, I remember people talking about saying, well, it looks like we got duped. It looks like there was a behind-the-scenes marketing campaign to slam her, and maybe she wasn't as bad. And I think the best approach for her would have been to stop there and say, basically, I don't have some time or desire to go through a lengthy lawsuit with Justin Baldoni. This is the best movie that the former Jane the Virgin actor will ever make, and he was lucky to do it. And I'm going to move on with my life. And she would have accomplished a couple things. She would have cast enough doubt into the narrative that people wouldn't have remembered whose side they were most firmly on in 6 months or 8 months from now. Mm-hmm. And then 2, she would have signaled to the rest of the industry that she's not a litigious person. She's somebody that you're going to want to work with on future movie sets because she's not going to try to drag it out into a lawsuit. Now, I think she made the mistake of filing. And when she filed that document, sort of all of her, I would guess for lack of a better term, star behavior, self-absorbed behavior, things like that, really came to the front and took off on social media and on YouTube and all that. And the camps really firmed up. And it became, I think, strongly pro-Baldoni overall in sort of the narrative. So I think she screwed up there. Now, I think Baldoni's move was, the original move was smart on the PR side, which is you sue the New York Times knowing you're never going to win. But what do you accomplish in the process? You get your story out there in a forum that everybody's going to be reading and nobody can sue you over defamation about saying. And then number 2, you sue the New York Times, which is the enemy of every person wearing a MAGA hat. And you've already sort of galvanized a base behind you because the enemy of my enemy is my friend, right? And so I think Baldoni, it was a very good PR move because, of course, everybody expects that New York Times is going to win. You're in New York. You've got 100 years of legal precedent in their favor. They don't lose cases, and they weren't going to lose this. But you could have gotten the story out there, and he did it. So I think he did that right. And I think that part of the decision, I'm not surprised at all.
Mm-hmm.
It was always going to come back in favor of the New York Times. And I think if you go behind the scenes in Team Baldoni, they knew that too, right? Now, the other side of this is now on the lawsuit side. I think what you saw on the Baldoni side was like a very aggressive public relations pitch about what they were going to do in the lawsuit, a very counter-aggressive measure against Lively's aggressive measure. And I think that always sets up a scenario that could potentially backfire because you're now out there very publicly doing these things and saying how you're going to get $400 million and you're going to crush the other side and all that sort of stuff. I think there's backfire potential on that. But I think they're probably shocked by the decision. But on the same side of it, I would just caution people, don't read too much into it right now because this thing could shift in a lot of meaningful ways. There's still 2 more claims out there that they can replead and get back in the case on an affirmative claim. And those claims could actually have some teeth to them if they plead them right.
Mm-hmm.
And then number 2 is you don't know what's going to happen at trial. You don't know what revelations are going to come out before trial. And you don't know if after trial, this thing is going to get reversed and they're going to find this judge made an error. Because he did go out pretty far out on a limb to say there's no case. So maybe the whole thing's an error. So I would caution people this is by no means over yet, but the settlement leverage has shifted strongly to the Lively camp. And if she's smart, I think she goes in and cuts a deal now because now she looks like she has her story out there. It's never going to get any better for her. And she looks like the winner of the round of legal things because she threw out his case. So if she just says now, oh, look, for the sake of my family and for the sake of moving on, we're going to settle this case. I think that would be a smart move on her part. But
do you think that the other side is going to be welcome to that?
Well, I think at this point they would be open to that because they've got so much of their claim gutted. Okay. I think if, at this point, if they could find a way to get out of this and still save face. I mean, I think, Baldoni, for better or worse, he's sort of put all his eggs now in this basket.
Right.
I mean, his legacy is going to be this film. I think Lively's hoping that she's still going to have a legacy that extends to Gossip Girl and other movies and her husband and all that. So I think she thinks her legacy is going to be bigger. I think his legacy is attached to Wayfarer in this film. So he's going to need Wayfarer to bankroll another film and maybe he can get back in the game too. But I think if you're in his camp at this side, you're looking for a way out that saves face. And if you're in her side, the smart move would be to try to cut this thing before it drags on and gets worse and worse for both sides.
Now, the last question I have is there has been discussion about a possible conflict of interest. What do you think about that?
A conflict is as to whom?
The judge.
Oh, the judge. I mean, the only thing I've ever understood about the judge is that his brother's Doug Lyman. Mm-hmm. But I don't think that's going to get you anywhere close to having a conflict of interest. I think the decision is so sweeping that I can see why people think there might be something wrong with it, right? Mm-hmm. Because it's very unusual. One thing I would say to the people who are listening to your podcast is, if you are a plaintiff's lawyer, and in this case, although it was a cross complaint, you're basically in the shoes of the plaintiff, you're a Baldoni, you do not want to be generally in federal court because federal court is way more difficult because the judges figure out ways to throw out cases earlier. So I think, this case would have sailed through the California state court system and there would be a trial on these claims. Because it's in federal court, it got more difficult. And because it's in federal court in New York, it may have even gotten more difficult. I don't think the conflict of interest angle, though, is probably going to be one that flies at all.
I so appreciate your insight. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. Have a great day.
Here's a tip for growing your business. Get the Venture X business card from Capital One and start earning unlimited double miles on every purchase. That's right. With unlimited double miles, the more your business spends, the more miles you earn. Plus, the Venture X business card has no preset spending limit. so your purchasing power can adapt to meet your business needs. The Venture X Business Card also includes access to over 1,000 airport lounges. Just imagine where the Venture X Business Card from Capital One can take your business. Capital One, what's in your wallet? Terms and conditions apply. Find out more at CapitalOne.com/VentureXBusiness.
This is Nick. And this is Jack. We're best friends, ex-finance guys, and resident 90s experts. And every week on our podcast, The Best Idea Yet, we're bringing you the untold stories behind your favorite products. For instance, can you guess which billion-dollar fashion company went viral thanks to a rhinestone-covered tracksuit? Or which cartoon turned 4 turtles into a global toy empire by accident? It started as a joke. Last one. Which cold beverage was so hated by Starbucks, they actually ended up acquiring it? Spoiler, the Frappuccino. Howard Schultz apparently thought cold coffee was super lame, and then he bought it. From Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles to Juicy Couture to the Orange Mocha Frappuccino. Join us every week to learn how your favorite things got made. Follow The Best Idea Yet on the Wonder app or wherever you get your podcasts. And you can listen early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus. And if this podcast lasts longer than 45 minutes, call your doctor.
Mary, I am finding you after the school year has ended. Are you just like smoking a cigarette on your patio right now?
I know. I would prefer a vape, but I'm living the good life.
Are you?
Like, it's just the best. This is where at the moment I thrive. It's summer.
Mhm.
I love staying up late, sleeping in, just like having no agenda.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited to be officially on summer. This is my second day. So
Wow.
yeah.
Well, at the end of the year, when you get those gifts, what's the best kind of gift?
Honestly, I say cash is king.
Cash is king.
Cash is king or a gift card. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Like not a candle, no.
No, just cash is king or a gift card.
Yeah.
I've got I treasure a mug, a Yeti cup, a flower.
Yeah.
I mean, but you get a lot of them, you know?
Do you ever have a student where you think to yourself, they are going to be president of the United States of America?
Not president. Certain people, I'm like, oh, they could totally be a lawyer.
Yeah.
Like this person is such a great, they'd be great in sales.
Yes.
I even write that in the report cards sometimes.
God bless.
Like
Yeah.
I literally will be like, I imagine them being an author someday.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I feel like I talk to kids and I do think, okay, this is somebody who will be like a copywriter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, good. Well, I'm hoping that you're going to enjoy yourself this summer. And then,
I definitely will. Definitely will.
yeah, like get some time. All right. Well, good. Well, you are always covering Bravo shows. Give me a couple of your current hot takes. Like, for example, Brynn announced her departure because her app is just killing the game. Do we think that's a bag of garbage?
Nobody have heard of the app Hoppy. I would say they had 2 downloads and now it's up to 4. I think it's really funny. Last week she came out saying that she was supposed to be on Love Hotel and she like dropped out. I'm like, no, you were asked to leave because you were atrocious.
Yeah.
I can't believe I also wish Bravo. I don't like how they like go out and grace. Like her announcement was like, she decided. I'm like, no, you were fired because you did a horrible thing. So like own it.
That's a good point.
Even
why do they do that?
Or don't even say anything. We didn't need the announcement. Nobody cared.
Yeah.
Sorry. I have passion.
If I think about it, that's probably pretty unusual. I can't imagine another network that I would allow them to put a statement out and just say, you know what, you say what you need to say to save face.
Right. It's like so
like who does
bizarre.
that in corporate America? Like they're never going to post like, it's come to a point where I just really like to spend more time with my family. And that's why I'm leaving Microsoft.
It's like, and then it's like, she's like promoting this dating app and she's still single. Your app's not even working for yourself. It's
like Patty Stanger.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
But I'm very curious, like where Roni will go, where Lindsay Hubbard's going to go. I mean, Summer House is around the corner. Like they start filming July 4th weekend. I mean, we're already on June 10th. So the contracts are going out. I'm curious where Lindsay Hubbard will lie with that.
I can't wrap my brain around that because as a mother of 5 kids, once I began having children, I could never have imagined myself leaving the baby with my husband and saying, I'm going to spend the weekend at a shore house with a bunch of single people. He'd be like, are you out of your mind?
Right. However, I feel like because she just announced that her and Turner are on pause, it kind of gives her this out. Like Turner's going to take Gemma on the weekends because we're co-parents.
But that's going to make communication worse with them. He's going to be like, what are you doing?
Well, I think what they really fight about is her being in the public and her wanting Gemma to be in the public. And that's like where the fighting.
Well, should have been a discussion that they held before they got into this situation, if you will. What about Craig and Paige? Now, you have covered these two for a long time. I know you've got feelings. You know them both. What are your feelings?
Craig blocked me because I said I was Team Paige recently.
He blocked you?
Blocked us. Like we have that March Madness contest. He's won it before. I've met him. He sent me stuff but it might have been also because Carl was on our podcast and said something where like we were kind of did a thing and he was like, there was no ring. So maybe that too. I don't know.
Do you think it's him listening in the quiet of the night? Or do you think he has minions that just go out and find anything that is said about him?
I think minions. I don't think he's like on social media a crazy amount.
I can't imagine any of them are, because how could someone withstand the mental pressure that would require?
Right. I think they probably get sent a few things and then see it and then know it's out there. But
I mean, that's your job, is to have an opinion.
Right.
Wow.
So, yeah, but I'm like all about Paige. I predicted that she would leave Summer House. I'm really curious. There's something brewing, because what are we doing with Lindsay? What are we doing with Paige? Are they going to transition to this like city thing?
But you know what? Just because someone worked on a show doesn't mean they need to be employed at that network forever.
No, totally. And I think Paige might have like surpassed this. Like,
I think she's gone, baby, gone. She's bigger, better. She can move on to the greener pastures.
When are we going to get the Traitors cast?
Oh, I feel like that's a coming.
Yeah, because I mean, it's like I think about Sierra being on it last year, and so it's like if they've already filmed July 4th,
right?
So they got to be going to Scotland any day now.
Any day now. Okay, what if you're given the opportunity to go on Traitors? Do you take it?
Oh, 100%.
Would
you?
I don't know how logistically I could do that.
Okay, take your kids out of it. Like we got someone to watch the kids.
If that were not the question, I think I'd win the whole thing. Because I'm a sleeper.
I could see you going very far.
Yeah, everyone tells me information. Or would you want to be a traitor? I could play both sides of the fence. I could be honest with you.
I could see you.
I'm a ninja. I feel like I'm a mental ninja. Because everyone tells me everything.
Sniper from the side.
Yeah. They would have no idea that I was like going back to headquarters and selling them down the river.
Right.
But I think that's what happens when you parent teenagers.
Sure.
You have to become very good at listening, navigating the waters.
Reading their phone when they're sleeping.
Everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I find information out about my oldest through her friends, and that's unbeknownst to her.
Okay. Like talking to her friends or like Instagram or...
No, I don't even need to explore the social media outlets. I just speak to the kids, and I have a way of getting info out.
I love it.
Yeah.
They want to gossip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's nothing I love more than the child in the group that's the gossip.
Totally. There's that one that once you get them to start talking, they won't stop.
You know, it reminds me of like doing episodes with Ronnie and Danny telling me about their childhood and saying they were the kids that always wanted to hang out with the moms at the party.
They were the gossips.
And they probably gave those mothers a ton of information.
Completely.
Yeah.
Completely. I love that.
I just have to find the one gay boy that's in the group and they'll tell me everything.
Yeah. You're right.
Or none.
You're right.
Okay, so what about Rachel Zoe joining Beverly Hills?
It makes me feel like she's in financial trouble.
Maybe.
I loved her original show. That was like the era of like the Ryan Cabrera, the Ashley Simpson, the Newlyweds.
Yes.
So I'm excited. I hope she doesn't hold back. She's iconic, you know. I am very curious. Like, do you think Kyle's going to come back?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
What else is she going to do?
I can't take the lies anymore. Like,
I know. It's anybody that's on too long, it's got to be like Menudo. You got to like filter them out.
She's hiding her life. So I'm very over that. And I'm very curious. Like, I can see Sutton like pouncing on Rachel Zoe, like to have kind of a friend because she's kind of on the island on her own.
But also the power dynamics are going to be great because I think Sutton and Dorit fancy themselves as like the style tastemakers. And then you have Rachel Zoe walk in and be like, what you're wearing is absolutely stupid.
Right. And then I think Kathy Hilton has some ties to Rachel too.
Probably.
Yeah.
I feel like Kathy Hilton has a connection to most people in that zip code.
That's true.
Well, we were talking about a documentary that you had watched, and then I forced myself to finish it. And it's about Sherri Papini.
Yes.
My gut feeling is this is somebody who has lied since she left the womb. You assess a lot of these personalities on your podcast. What do you think about Sherri Papini?
Okay. So I've like followed the Sherri Papini case for a long time. Always thought that, you know, she lied to everybody, that she just like had her lover down in Southern California, blah, 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 blah. But this new doc, okay, if you know the case well, you can probably skip episode 1. It's 4 episodes. But like the second, third, and fourth episode, I was kind of like, wait. I do think she is a liar, and they caught her in multiple lies in the doc. Like they were like, so you said it was like 2 Hispanic women, and then you said it was like one of the women was his mom, and that's why you wanted it to look like his mom, so they would connect it to your ex-boyfriend. But like your ex-boyfriend's mom is not Hispanic, and she like quickly like reverts and was like embarrassed and scared and and they catch her in a few lies in it. But then the more I thought about it, I do think they like planned for this kidnapping for her to like escape. But then I do think something weird happened there. Do you know what I mean? Like in the house, like how has this man not gotten into any trouble?
That is very perplexing. And I had assumed that perhaps they made some sort of deal with him.
James.
Yeah. Because it just makes like, no sense.
The branding.
Yeah.
And like, you know, she did have like a lot of marks on her body. And then he says it's because she wanted it. I'm like, isn't that
here's
illegal?
A hockey stick and a puck. Do what you want with it.
I kind of got, and then I'm like in the boarded up room.
Yeah.
It just did start to feel a little bit weird. It was super interesting. Like her psychologist was on, or her therapist.
That was weird to me, though. Like, why did they agree to be on camera?
I mean, he believes everything that she says.
But that's like a conflict of interest.
Yes. It made me like rethink about the case. I do think she lies.
Yeah,
but I think there might be some truth.
Well, that's always the truth, isn't it? That there's like a little bit of a kernel somewhere.
Totally. What were your thoughts? Did you? She's also kooky.
She is someone who loves attention. So the moment she sits down in the chair and she's cracking jokes, I'm thinking there's something wrong with you because you're laughing. Like anytime there's a very disturbing situation, sad situation, traumatic situation, and someone laughs, it already kind of puts me at a place of unease.
Totally.
And then I thought, she just likes being famous. So she'll say whatever to make these producers happy because she's getting paid, which she probably has 3 marbles in her bank account. And she really believes that she's like a superstar. That's what I find is like the new trend that after I cover all these true crime docs, I feel like there's a population of people who are participants in some sort of crime. They become celebrities because the true crime doc or podcast genre. And they begin to believe themselves as like Jennifer Aniston, Brad Pitts of the world. And that to me is fascinating and yet horrifying.
And her parents were pretty bizarre as well. Like,
well, that's why she's bizarre, because they're crazy.
Exactly. And the dad like did not talk. And the mom, it almost like, I almost feel like the dad like looked at the mom to get permission to talk.
Like a hostage situation.
Yes, it felt very creepy.
Or he knows the truth and he's going along with it. Like
they kind of went a bit against Sherri for that one part. They said they didn't think she was kidnapped. Didn't they say that?
I feel like they're I think this is between her therapist and her parents. They're just not reliable sources.
Right. But the lie detector was kind of interesting too.
I know, but like lie detectors, are they admissible?
Right. Well, and I also think she could convince herself of something and beat a lie detector. Like her heart rate wouldn't elevate. Because I think, like you said, she was going to do whatever the production wanted her to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think she's also easily manipulated.
I fancied her as in the category of Casey Anthony. Like batshit bananas, bonkers, crazy, and seemingly have no qualms about talking about themselves and the crime without any sort of flicker in their eye. Like dead eyes, just dead to the world, but enamored by attention.
Mm-hmm. Well, and even the way they ended the doc, like she was like, well, do you think this is going to help me or hurt me? Like she had no concept.
No, because she's thinking about season 2.
Right.
She's like, where are the bold and the beautiful? Like, what's my next gig?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Very
but don't you feel like she also has like so many boyfriends?
Oh, she's playing the game. She's got like a couple guys in the queue for sure. And she's probably getting money from them. This is sort of like housewife behavior where you're delusional, where you think that you are a superstar and that's based on a mystery to the rest of the world because it doesn't seem to be based on talent at all.
Right.
And can get men to buy things and put money in their account.
I could very much see that.
I'd be surprised if she isn't getting an agent and that agent isn't trying to get other gigs. She's going to be on like Villains or something.
Oh God.
But think about it. If you're the casting director for Villains, you're like, we got to get Sherri Papini in this place.
I can't even imagine. That would be
Traitors?
very scary.
Traitors is like, and
scary.
Dorinda Medley and Sherri Papini. And then Dorinda would be like riffing about it all day long.
That feels like a liability.
Probably, but that's never stopped people before.
Right.
It's your girl Kiki, and if you haven't heard my podcast, baby, this is Kiki Palmer, you're missing out. You know I do it all. Acting, singing, hosting, producing. But this podcast right here, this is where I get to be my whole entire self with my people. And that means you. Every week we're hanging out, getting into the juiciest conversations. And trust me when I say the tea is hot. And the guests are serving. We're talking entertainers, creators, thought leaders. Everybody who's everybody comes through to keep it real with your girl. But this isn't just about me and my guests spilling tea. This is about us, you and me, hanging out every week, getting into everything from career moves to life drama to being a mom. Nothing is off limits. I'm always going to be your girl, Kiki, keeping it 100. So come through and join the conversation. Head over to YouTube if you want to watch the full experience. Or you can subscribe to Baby, This is Kiki Palmer on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. Want it early and ad-free? Join Wondery Plus right now.
Every big moment starts with a big dream. But what happens when that big dream turns out to be a big flop? From Wondery and At Will Media, I'm Misha Brown, and this is The Big Flop. Every week, comedians join me to chronicle the biggest flubs, fails, and blunders of all time, like Quibi.
It's kind of like when you give yourself your own nickname and you try to like get other people to do it.
And the 2019 movie adaptation of Cats.
Like if I'm watching the dancing and I'm noticing the feet aren't touching the ground, there's something wrong with the movie.
Find out what happens when massive hype turns into major fiasco. Enjoy The Big Flop on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to The Big Flop early and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Get started with your free trial at Wondery.com/plus.
What if they had Sherri Papini and like a couple of those cops from the Karen Reed trial?
Oh, if Karen Reed does not get off, I will lose my mind. I think
there
insane.
is a good portion of the country that will also lose their mind too.
It is, that case is seriously wild.
Mm-hmm.
She better get off.
Do you think that there are producers circling the Canton, Massachusetts area right now, hoping that Jen McCabe will agree to some reality show and or doc after this is over?
I don't think they will ever speak.
Yeah.
Any of the Alberts, the McCays, they are thick as thieves.
Yeah.
They are a tight circle. They know that they have to
stick to the script.
Yes. And they will not deviate. If they've come this far.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I agree with you because Irish people keep secrets.
Mm-hmm. I'm 100% Irish. I'm not a rat.
Relatives who are dead and gone, and Jonathan Mark can't even get it out of them from the the other realm,
from the other side.
They are keeping it, and so I could see how a group of people could stick to a script.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wild. All right. Another documentary that the good people in the Facebook group had suggested that you and I watched is called Crazy in Love. Is this a crazy story or what?
Kate, I was so glad you suggested this. I had never heard of it. I didn't even watch the preview because I was like, I just
no, you shouldn't have. Yes.
You know what I mean? And I'm sitting there watching it and I'm like, why is this lady wearing sunglasses the whole time?
I agree.
Like, I was like, what is going on? Come to find out, this case is insane.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with them.
Well, I could see why it became such a news story at the time. And I thought if this had happened in modern day times, they would have had 7 seasons of a reality show.
I mean, are they still alive?
No, they died.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Bert, a real con man. I mean, as I'm watching this interview, I believe everything he says.
Yeah.
I don't think he's lying. And then you just find out he's truly a psychopath. Like, also, okay, what was at the beginning of so he's a lawyer, he owns a plane, he owns a nightclub.
I mean, but does he?
He just made a movie. You don't think?
How could someone pull off all of those things? If I said I'm a dentist, I'm an accountant, I'm a lawyer, and
this is true, and
a teacher, you'd go, nice one, crazy pants.
Right. I believed it though. He spoke with such conviction. He was a master manipulator.
You could say anything and people would be convinced, you know?
Yeah. And then, but he was married? I was like...
I was married with a daughter.
He was going out all the time with her.
I know, but there was a different time in some respects because the women were just told, just take care of the child and shut up.
Right.
You know, it's the generation in which they were born into, their culture. You know, New York City, mid-1950s, different time.
Even the way they told the story, it was so a matter of fact without emotion.
Yeah.
Both of them, when they were saying this story, even when, she at one point is with another man and she's just like, it didn't work out. I'm like, no, he left you because you were blind.
Right.
He left you because you were blind because your ex-boyfriend had hired 2 men to throw acid at your face. I mean, it was insane.
And then you think about all the people that have in their lives going, they're back together. You got to be kidding me.
It was truly insane.
The other thing was the amount of times they talked about the beginning of the relationship, how it was so sexual. I was like, I get the point.
But then she kept on saying, I never went to bed with him. And then she literally, she kept on saying she was a virgin. She was a virgin into her 30s. And then at one point, because Bert doesn't believe her, they go to the doctors together.
Right.
So the doctor can confirm that she is a virgin.
But again, it's similar to Sherri Papini.
Okay.
And probably most housewives. Are these people reliable sources?
This is a good point, Kate. And I believed everything that they said.
Yeah. I mean, they're just not reliable.
Yeah.
I'm realizing now the theme of this episode is crazy people. It always happens that way too. I feel like I put an episode together. I'm like, oh, that all went together. And I had no idea. It's truly people that concoct their own life narrative. And the rest of the world is looking at them like they're insane. But to them, they live in their truth.
Totally. I mean, yeah, she literally, poor, what's her name? Linda. Linda is like going out and looking at houses with him. They're looking at boats. She's thinking she's going to live this like lavish lifestyle and that he's getting a divorce and he like has made up fake divorce papers and he's never going to leave his wife.
Never.
No.
I really do believe this story would have existed on a Real Housewife franchise.
It's truly, truly insane. And then he goes to jail because he hired the two men to throw acid in her face, goes permanently blind. She then has like a bodyguard.
Well, yeah, who could blame her?
She has a bodyguard. and then he gets out.
After 14 years.
How does he get out though?
I mean, there are probably too many people in the jail. He could have paid somebody off for all we know.
Maybe you hit something there because while he is in jail, he gets several people off. He reverses 3 murder charges.
Because he's spending his days working different cases for people, which, by the way, kept him alive and probably out of harm's way in the jail because that was his superpower. But he's also probably got previous connections to the mafia, and that probably helped him as well.
Okay. And then at his jail, there was like a major jail outbreak or
like a riot.
Yeah. And he gets saved in that too.
Well, of course he did.
This guy has like 9 lives.
Yeah. If you go anywhere, you have to figure out what your superpower is and use it to your advantage. This guy, he used the mafia connections and his quasi-legal background to help people.
Yeah. That, speaking of the photo of when they initially arrest him and he's like getting in the paddy wagon and he's like, I was trying to like shield my face, but they finally got one photo of me. He is literally like basically waving like he's Miss America getting into the paddy wagon. Like his creepy glasses, he's waving, the facial hair, the goatee was so bad.
Well, I like that the friends of the family are like, he wasn't attractive. And they make reference to actors that none of us know. Arnold Stang. I mean, that's the kind of fun part about it, watching it, is it's a truly, like, it's a story of complete lunacy about people who would be the people on the street that we would talk about. Like the people that live down the street and their crazy story.
Yeah, I mean, he was committed at one point. Like,
yeah.
He was singing the song Linda on his ukulele to his iguana.
And Mary, you believed him. I'm concerned.
I do. I literally think he was in the office with the secretary, like drunk as hell, had this weird iguana and started singing the song Linda. I really do think that happened.
I think that happened maybe in his dreams, but no. Again.
The secretary corroborated the story.
Well, who knows how much he was paid off too. And who knows all those people that were in his life, like he probably has things on them. They're very good at like paying people off and doing things, nice things for certain people so they feel obligated to protect them.
Do you think he slept with
I think he slept with a lot of people, yeah. The secretary, definitely. The secretary, boy, she let herself go.
Yeah, I thought the same thing.
Wow. And that's the other part of this story is like, you're circling back to headquarters and a lot of the people were like, what do I have to lose? Like, I'm about to kick the bucket. Like, I'm just going to tell you this.
Because is this like from the 90s?
It's made in 2007.
What?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Still quite a bit ago.
It felt old. It felt old.
Yeah. It is kind of just a fun walk back on a crazy story in history. But again, I think that was the theme for this episode is like just people that are insane.
Yeah. I mean, he did have an IQ of 133. That's a genius.
Mm-hmm.
He was a genius.
I'm sure there are a lot of con people that are geniuses.
Yeah.
Like my father included. Yeah. That's what they're good at.
Yeah.
Again, you play to your superpower.
So he gets out, they end up getting back together. They're married for 28 years.
Yeah.
Do you think she settled? Are they in love? What do you think?
I don't think she has any idea what real love is because of the emotional torture.
Mm-hmm.
She just has no idea. She has an imaginary view of love, but this is a woman who struggled through deep emotional, physical pain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, how many times do you talk to somebody who was in an abusive relationship and maybe that person passes on or they've moved on, they get married to somebody else, and they start to create an imaginary story about the relationship that they had?
Like fantasize it.
Yeah. Like when my stepdad died, my mom would kind of talk about him like he wasn't like one of the worst people that walked the earth. And I was like, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
But I think that's like a coping mechanism.
It's nostalgia, like remembering the good times. Yeah. I did like what you said, like being with me is not easy. And this is the best revenge. But I do think she was in love with him. Like it was like they were like Bonnie and Clyde and thick as thieves. Then at the end, he cheats on her.
Of course.
Is brought to court for like sexual assault and gets off, and she still stands behind him.
She doesn't know anything different. She's also probably like, well, where do I go? What do I do?
They did like very much the Bickersons, you know?
Yeah.
Like I got an Adrienne Maloof, Dr. Paul Nassif vibe.
Yeah.
Just fight all the time. But like,
but remember when that show was on? I kind of dug that. Like I like their bickering.
I think that's what they had the same kind of bickering.
Yeah.
These two. Yeah.
But boy, why didn't she throw some acid in that guy's face?
I think it was like she's like literally his penance is like taking care of me the rest of my life as like I'm this blind woman. Like he gives me my medicine. He makes sure I look good. Like I'm put together. Like she was very vain and into her looks. And I think she knew he wanted her to look good as well. And that he would take care of her.
What an insane story.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that you spent the evening watching that so we could talk about it today.
I did really enjoy it. I really did enjoy it.
Any last thoughts on what to look forward to for Bravo? Because you guys are going to be ramping up your episodes.
Miami.
Oh, I love it. It's my favorite. And then what about Below Deck? Are you dipping into that?
I did watch the last 2 episodes. The preview was so good. Last week I enjoyed. This week was meh for me, but you know, there's always filler episodes. But I'm super into Next Gen NYC.
You are?
Yes. I love Ariana Bierman like throwing her parents under the bus.
That's the only thing I enjoyed about it.
Gia does not fit for me. I think Charlie is someone to watch.
Especially since he's probably involved in some very strange
crypto
situations.
Yes.
The one girl, Georgia, she seemed the star of the show.
Didn't wash her hands. I think I enjoy Brooks Marks' voice even. You know what I mean?
Really?
Yes. He's just there.
Well, I feel like his parents remind me of the couple in National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, Julia Louis-Dreyfus and her husband, who are just like the city people that live next door to the wacky family.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's Brooks.
Yes.
He's always around wacky people and he's the straight man.
Right. Well, and this week, Teresa and Meredith are going to be on tonight. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
I have some friends that have said that the people who worked on that show thought it was absolutely boring to make.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. I'm digging it. So,
all right. Well,
I guess I'm easily pleased.
Well, I know you thought that Bert's stories were true.
I still think they are.
Well, that's good. It's good to be around people that believe in people. I married someone like this on purpose. Well, tell everybody where they can follow you guys and where they can listen to your podcast.
Yes. You can listen to Two Judgey Girls wherever you listen to your podcast. Follow us on Instagram. I recently started a TikTok journey, so you can follow me at Married Two Judgey Girls on TikTok. Please follow me on that. I'm trying to build that up. So
build it up.
TikTok's hard. It's a different beast. So
it's a whole other beast. And by the way, there'll be another social app around the corner.
Exactly. Substack.
I'm there. Follow me on Substack.
Okay.
Okay, good.
Thanks, Kate.
Thank you. I want to thank my fantastic guests and remind you to click subscribe. Please leave a 5-star review and join the Facebook group Reality Life with Kate Casey. You can get my what to watch list by going to katecasey.substack.com. And also make sure that you get bonus episodes both on Apple Podcasts and on Patreon at patreon.com/Kate Casey. And follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram at @KatecaseyCA, TikTok it's Kate Casey, and Twitter, Threads, and Blue Sky at Kate Casey. Check back tomorrow for an all-new episode with Chelsea Devontes.
If you're looking for new ways to get ahead, then you're our kind of person. We're Udemy. And we help learners like you upskill in AI, productivity, leadership and management, and more. Learn at your own pace from real-world experts. You can also prep for certifications that show employers what you know. Upskill for the career you want at udemy.com. Now, back to your regularly scheduled listening.